Welcome to Make a Path Presents. My name is Ronnie Hayes, and today, let's talk. The Walking Dead Season 6 made a triumphant return last night, and we got a lot to talk about. Now, first off, if you're new here, what we do on this channel is we review each episode the next day after it airs. Give everyone a time to catch up. The first thing that goes up is going to be a first impression review, kind of where we get all our excitement out. The next video is going to be a few days after that, after I hear your thoughts, and then that way I can incorporate some fan feedback in the second video. Now, the second video is called The Afterthoughts. I did it for the first 8 episodes of this season, and if you guys want to go ahead and check out some of those afterthought videos, they're usually longer and more in-depth, and I try to pinpoint some things that fans missed. So if we don't discuss certain things in this video, like, you know, Daryl getting the explosion, it's a shame because Abraham found it. He was so excited, but Daryl got the he was able to shoot off the RPG and blow everyone up. Now, that was a prediction, a possibility we discussed, and even though we did discuss it previously, it came at a surprise. I was waiting for them to cut to something else. I was preparing myself for something different. Somebody getting wounded, I'll just put it out there. However, they went a different direction. But anyway, like I'm saying, the next one's going to be an afterthoughts where we go in deep. So if we miss anything here, that's why. I'm already rambling too much, so let's get right into this episode. First off, I'm going to have to rate this as a mid-grade. I loved it. Now, unfortunately, during some promos, my expectations lowered. Some of the promos were a little misleading, where it made it seem like we were going to get a cheaper, restricted version of No Way Out compared to the comic. And also, we are talking about the video, the episode, so there will be spoilers in case you don't already know. So, spoiler warning. I am going to have to reevaluate how I look at The Walking Dead, prediction-wise, because I'll even admit, I started losing hope that they would actually give us the Jesse death, Carl getting shot in the eye. That kind of restriction it's not easy for an actor to, act with one eye. I'm sure there's things they could do. They already talked about in an interview having his hair longer so that way it can cover his wound, his bandage, similar to the comic books. And that, for those who have been asking why Carl hasn't gotten a haircut, that is the reason why. It's to cover that up. Now, the work they did on the eye is absolutely terrific. What they did is they actually did practical effects, and then they filmed a dummy, and I'll put the pictures up here, and that way they can actually go in digitally and get the depth of the wound off the dummy. So it was a mix between practical and CGI, and I think they absolutely did it great. Let's go ahead and rewind it here. I do want to get a couple cons out of the way. One, the Insta-Night always rubs me wrong in movies and TV. Sometimes it's something we just can't get around, because you have to understand, they don't just film a scene in a matter of minutes and then it's done. So there's multiple takes, and oftentimes they need that to be consistent. Time of day, meaning if it's daylight out, that daylight needs to be consistent. If it's nighttime, it needs to be consistent. It's damn near impossible to film at that time of day where it's going from day to night. Because even if you'll see in these videos, when I do it, it's only a matter of minutes, and it goes from being light to dark in the video, you know what I mean? So imagine filming a TV show like that. Very frustrating, getting the color right. So it makes sense that they would, possibly because of a time constraint, or maybe they wanted it to be at night, which makes sense for the final outcome, having all the characters chopping away, making it look like a comic book. And that's something I didn't like in a promo, but I was very excited once I seen it pieced together. Again, I thought they were going to restrict the action somewhat, but when we saw Rick coming off the porch ready to kick ass, we were all hyped up, and he was just going one walker after the next. So integrating those scenes, those far out shots where we can see the walkers around them and Rick hacking away, and then also paying homage in a way to the comic book, showing every single Alexandrian fighting. In the comic book, there was panels where it was just people's faces. They were fighting. We did kind of miss out on the whole bodies on the ground and having our warriors huffing and puffing. So there is some give and take when they're translating the comic to the screen. However, even though we didn't get that triumphant ending with Walker still roaming around Alexandria, but the huge herd has been defeated and our heroes are standing there amidst a pile of walkers. Such an iconic image. However, something that great is going to have to just stay in the comic, because we got something a little bit different, which is all the dead walkers laying around, and then it zoomed up to the porch where we have our heroes resting, while inside Daryl is getting stitched up and Carl's laying in a coma after his wound. And that was also sped up, that timeline, in the comic book, and this is why some of us discussed the show moving at a fast rate to get to Negan, because if they weren't moving at this fast of a rate, Carl would have stayed in a coma for 2 or 3 days, 2 or 3 episodes, sorry, most likely. But they already admitted that they're speeding that up, and we're not going to see the cleanup of Alexandria. We'll talk more about that in the predictions video and the aftermath video. But I do want to talk about a couple things right now. Oh, you know what? I finished this and I forgot to add another minor complaint or con I had, so I'm going to just pop this in here right here. It was actually the ending of episode 8. It's with Sammy saying, "Mom, Mom, Mom." That became one of my favorite cliffhangers. However, it got diluted somewhere between 8 and 9, and it's kind of bumped down in rank simply for the fact that it was a little confusing. I might need to watch it again, but Sammy was like, "Mom, Mom, Mom," when they were coming down the steps, or at least that's exactly what it looked like. However, when 9 comes back on, it makes it appear as if he just suddenly stopped saying Mom, or they told him hush and he hushed, and then when they made it apart from the walkers, it kind of felt like that has happened. And when Sammy's like, "No, I can go," and mad props to Gabriel, he stepped it up, not only taking and saving Judith, but also coming out and supporting. And I'm actually really thrilled they did that gladiator shit. I left that out of the initial review, but I'm putting it in here now. Loved it all. I love this episode so much. I want to get that across. But what I'm saying though is it made me confused for a minute. At first I thought they tricked us. The mommy stuff wasn't right away. It was actually later on, and then they were going to bring it back. But then I was thinking, wait a minute, wasn't it daylight and now it's nighttime? What are they doing to my mind? I'm lost here. So if you guys have any thoughts or opinions, or you can kind of piece this together for me before I get a chance to watch it again, let me know what happened, because I was utterly confused there, and I thought it didn't translate well, and I kind of felt duped in a way, and that's why the cliffhanger for episode 8 kind of fell down a couple notches. Because if it's something where they're like, okay, we're just going to throw this kid in here saying "Mommy, Mommy" to get a good cliffhanger, when episode 9 comes back around, we're going to pretend like it didn't even happen, or we're not even going to show him shutting up or anyone telling him to shut up. And you know what I'm saying? So that kind of got me a little bit. One of the cons. Besides from that, I want to let you know, listen, you can still love something to death and find a couple flaws with it, or some things you don't like. I know a lot of people get confused. I get a couple comments being like, "You're crazy, this was awesome." Yes, I agree. I absolutely loved it. It was so much of what I asked for. So much. But that doesn't mean we can't still have a couple cons with some things. But this could be cleared up. If you guys know exactly what happened because you watched it a couple times, or maybe I missed something, let me know down in that comment box. I'm going to get you to the original video right now. Speaking of Rick clearing out the walkers, I love how it felt like it was paying homage to season 3 when Lori died and Rick just lost his shit and went into the basement of the prison, wherever the hell he went, and he just started killing all the walkers down there, just clearing it out. It felt very similar. First it was Lori dying and he did it at the prison, and now in Alexandria it's Carl possibly about to die and Rick just goes out there and starts clearing it out. I really love that. To me, it paid homage. Maybe I was reading too much into it. However, something else that got me really hot under the collar, and I got a reaction video I'm going to try to edit and put up next, was the Glenn shit. Now listen, we had that Glenn fake out, and this adds, in my opinion, some more depth to the Glenn fake out, because even though some fans don't like that fake out, it made me believe that they might actually be tricking us. And I didn't think this before the episode. I thought Glenn was safe. But then when we saw Glenn go and distract the walkers so Enid can get up and help Maggie, I started thinking, wow, what if they fake this out and they're going to kill him in front of Maggie like this? Kind of like how he had to watch Noah die, Maggie would watch Glenn die. That would be vicious. And the more it started playing out, I actually thought there was a good chance they would kill him now. And I'm not gonna lie, I started getting hot under my shirt. I'm like, oh my god, Glenn's going down. That was probably one of the most intense scenes for me in a long time. I thought he was gonna get it, and I didn't want him to get it. I didn't want him to die at that time like that. but I would have respected it if it happened like that. And then when Abraham and Sasha came to save the day, I was like, woo, that was good. They got me on that one, I'll admit that. With the Jesse scene, I know we're bouncing around, but again, these are kind of just first impressions. With the Jesse scene, I am split. I like it more than I don't like it. I like it about 85%. The other 25 is only due. The other 25? I'll edit that out. Anyway, no, I won't. So a good 85% like, 15% don't like, and that's because of the slow-mo. The scene felt very tense. It was just everything I could have wanted as a comic fan, and it was everything I was begging for months. You guys on this channel know, and I'm very happy we got that scene translated from the comic book. However, it felt like the movements of the characters and the scene and even the slow-mo, even though it was drilling it in our heads what Rick is going through, and that was fine. The splashes of red, it kind of felt like a comic book panel in a way. I enjoyed all of that. It just felt like some of it could have been sped up a little more, so that way we don't have time to catch our breaths. We don't have time to process what's going on. It's just literally like, bam, Sammy gets it, which was brutal, but perfect for what we needed it to be. Sammy gets it, then Jesse gets it, and then Ron pulls the gun out, and I believe he was aiming at Rick, because if he was aiming at Carl, Rick most likely would have been jumping in front of that. Rick looked like he was, the gun was aiming at him, and then when Michonne stabs him, it looks like he went like this and shot Carl, and that makes sense because they would have been, if he was aiming at Carl with the gunshot, Rick probably would have been like, oh shit. So I believe he was aiming at Rick, and he was saying you kind of whoop-de-whoop, so I'm seeing it right now as he's aiming at Rick. Anyhow, the movements happened perfectly. I just felt like there was a little bit too much, like the camera lingered on the characters too much. The characters, moved too slowly for what was going on. I just wished it was a little bit faster. If anyone remembers my review of Bone Tomahawk, there's a scene in there where, it's just a real soft scene. They're kind of setting something up, and then bam, 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 characters just get chopped up and shit hits the fan. It's literally like 10 seconds, but it's so fast paced and it doesn't give you time to breathe, and it's utterly shocking. It blows your mind. That's kind of what I would have hoped for this scene. However, that's not a complaint because this is one of my all-time favorite episodes of The Walking Dead. Absolutely loved it. Even as a comic book fan, they did pretty much everything I could have wanted and expected. Incredible job. Listen, we're going to end it here. I want to hear your thoughts and opinions and come back for the afterthoughts, and also got a review of these guys here. Those guys, they are absolutely amazing. Like zombies. They're awesome. Got a lot more videos. We do predictions, we do the afterthoughts, in-depth video. We also covered The Walking Dead during the break, so if you're new here, you can finally have a home for those Walker withdrawals, because there's going to be another break. I know The Walking Dead is back, but in a minute it's going to seem like it's gone again. So subscribe if you're new, hit that like button, show a little love, comment your thoughts and opinions about this episode down in that comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn. Subscribe now.